My dear students, today again we are going to discuss about chapter number 5, that is the fundamental unit of life. In our previous sessions we studied about cell organelles like endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus and lysosomes. And in today's session we are going to study about some other cell organelles like mitochondria, which is also known as powerhouse of the cell, plastids, which include a very important plastid, chloroplast, and vacuoles and cell division at the end. So let us begin with the mitochondria. In this slide you can see the picture of mitochondria. It has double membrane layer. You can see the outer membrane and the inner membrane. The outer membrane is located outside and the inner membrane is towards the inside, and it is highly folded inward. This folding makes a special type of structure, finger-like projections, which are known as cristies. See, this is inner membrane, and this inner membrane has some projection, some internal folding, and this folding makes the structure which is known as cristae. This is structure. These structures are cristies, and inside cristae there is a material which is known as matrix. So this is just a general structure of a mitochondria. Now let us begin with other characteristic features of mitochondria. It is covered by a double membrane, and the outer membrane is known as outer membrane structure, and the inner one is inner, which is folded inward, forming the structure cristae. Outer membrane is very porous and the inner membrane is deeply folded, creating a large surface area for ATP molecule synthesis. ATP is the energy currency of the cell. Hence, the mitochondria are called as the powerhouse of the cell. ATP is energy currency because this ATP is a chemical molecule which generates energy in our body. And this ATP is created here in this mitochondria. So, where the power is generated in your body? In mitochondria in the form of ATP. So ATP is called as energy currency of the body, and mitochondria is known as powerhouse of the cell because it creates ATP molecule in it. Mitochondria have their own DNA and ribosomes. Therefore, they can make their own proteins. This is again a unique feature of mitochondria, that these mitochondria have their different DNA in them, and they also have ribosomes present in them. That is why they can prepare their own protein. Now look at the structure which is shown here. Again, in this structure you can see ATP synthetic particles, which is showing that ATP is being synthesized here. Inner membrane, outer membrane, and DNA also is shown here, which shows that this particular cell organelle has its own DNA, and it has some ribosomes also. It has intermembrane space which is filled with the matrix, which has certain granules present in it. Now the energy required for various chemical activities needed for life is released by mitochondria in the form of ATP molecule. The body uses energy stored in ATP for making new chemical compounds and for mechanical work. Mitochondria are strange organelles in the sense that they have their own DNA and they have their own ribosomes also. So this enables them to prepare their own protein. Now let us discuss about plastids. Plastids are large cell organelles found only in plant cells, which are specialized to synthesize and store organic substances in it. Plastids are classified on the basis of pigment present in them into two categories: leucoplast and chromoplast. Leucoplast are the colorless plastids, which can be amyloplast, aleuroplast, alleoplast, etc. These do not have any color, or we can say that these are white in color. And if we are talking about chromoplast, its name suggests that chromo means it has so many colors in it. So these are colorful plastids. These colors can be green or some other colors like orange, yellow, purple, etc. So it includes green and non-green plastids. Chromoplasts containing the pigment chlorophyll are known as chloroplasts, which are important for photosynthesis in plants. We all have already studied about photosynthesis process and the importance of chlorophyll pigment in this process. So the chlorophyll pigment which impart green color to the plant is because of this plastid only. That is a part of chromoplast. Chromoplasts are the organelles, or these are the structures in which materials such as the starch, oils, protein granules can be stored. So these are basically the structures in which something can be stored in the form of oils, proteins, etc. Now here in this slide you can see three-dimensional model of chloroplast along with its internal structure. The structure of the chloroplast seems very interesting because here also two membranes are present, outer membrane and inner membrane, and inside that membranes there is a very interesting structure where you can compare this structure with the stack of coins which are connected to each other. So this makes the structure granum, which look like a stack of thylakoid, and each granum is made up of so many units, and these units are known as thylakoid. So here you can see that this entire structure is granum. This is one granum here, and the single unit here is thylakoid. Similarly, you can see here also it is demarcated, a single unit is thylakoid, whereas the entire structure is known as granum. And these granums are attached with each other with the help of lamellae. The internal aqueous space or the fluid space is known as stroma here. These thylakoids are flattened sac-like membrane within a chloroplast. In this slide you can see the structure of thylakoids. Now let us compare leucoplast and chromoplast. Leucoplast serves as storage depots for energy-rich starch, as in potato tubes. Here you can see that example of a potato tubes are taken, where you can see leucoplast which stores some starch into them, and on the other side you can see chromoplast, image of a chromoplast. These are the colored pigments, and these can be categorized into two groups, that is anthocyanins and carotenoids. These are not given in your textbook. This is just for your extra information. So let us see these also. Anthocyanins are the pigments which have the potential as food colorant. Means whatever food which you, whatever color which you get in your food is because of anthocyanin. Various vegetables, fruits are of different type of colors, and these colors are imparted by the chemical substance which is known as anthocyanin. Similarly, yellow and orange pigment is imparted by carotenoids. So now let us go to another important cell organelle, that is vacuoles. And in this slide you can see the anatomy of plant cell, in which you can see that the major part of the plant cell is occupied by vacuole, wherein few vacuoles are present as compared to animal cell, and big size vacuoles are present. So let us begin with vacuoles. Vacuoles are storage sacs of solid or liquid content. Vacuoles are small sized in animal cells, while plant cells have very large vacuoles in them. The central vacuoles of some plant cells may occupy 50 to 90% of the volume of that cell. So you can imagine about that size of vacuoles in plant cell. Here also you can see the diagram of vacuoles. In plant cells, vacuoles are full of cell sap. Cell sap means a liquid substance is present inside that vacuoles. And this liquid substance, this cell sap provides turgidity and rigidity to the cell. Many substances of importance in the life of the plant cell are stored in these vacuoles, and these include amino acids, sugars, various organic acids, and some proteins in it. In single-celled organisms like amoeba, the food vacuoles contain the food items that the amoeba has consumed. In some unicellular organisms, specialized vacuoles also play important roles in expelling excess water and some waste from the cell. So here also you can see the structure of vacuoles in different diagrams. You can also see when the vacuole is turgid, that time what happens to the plant, and if the vacuole is just shrink, that time what happens to the plant. And now let us go through another features. Vacuoles are irregular in shape. Vacuoles are bubble-like sacs bounded by a single unit. Yes, this is very important here to note that this is the organelle which has only one membrane around it. So it is single membraned organelle and its membrane has got a very unique name, that is tonoplast. So the vacuoles are surrounded by the membrane which is known as tonoplast. The tonoplast, like the plasma membrane, is differentially permeable, means it allows some of the substances to go across it. They are filled with fluid called cell sap, and these cell saps can include minerals, sugar, amino acids in it. Now let us focus on to the functions of vacuoles. The vacuole stores materials like water, food, nutrients and waste products also. These vacuoles also destroys bacterial intruders and stores helpful bacteria. Vacuoles stores ions and compounds that cannot be satisfactorily stopped in the cytoplasm. Protozoans and animal cells vacuoles have osmoregulatory function in them and digestive and defensive role also. These vacuoles also help in balancing the pH of the cell. Now let us focus on to another important feature of cell, that is cell division. You know children that in our body also continuously the cells are forming and dying. So how these new cells are forming? These new cells are forming by the process of cell division. So let us learn more about it. New cells are formed in organisms in order to grow, to replace the old cells, dead cells and injured cells, and to form gametes required for reproduction process. The process by which new cells are made is called cell division. There are two main types of cell divisions, mitosis and meiosis. The process of cell division by which most of the cells divide for growth is called as mitosis. Means this mitosis takes place in somatic cells. Somatic cells are the cells which are not related to reproductive system or not related to your germ cells. So for growth and development in cells, this mitosis cell division is responsible. In this process, each cell called mother cell divides to form two identical daughter cells. The daughter cells have the same number of chromosomes as the mother cell. It helps in growth and repair of tissues in organisms. Specific cells of reproductive organs or tissues in animals and plants divide to form gametes, and which after fertilization give rise to offsprings. They divide by different process which is called as meiosis, which involves two consecutive divisions. Means the first division will take place, then again after that first division one more division will take place. So when a cell divides by meiosis, it produces 4 daughter nuclei. And in case of mitosis, what you learned? That there 2 daughter nuclei are only formed. And here in case of meiosis, 4 daughter nuclei are formed. And mitosis takes place in somatic cells and meiosis takes place in reproductive cells or germ cells. When a cell divides by meiosis, it produces 4 new cells instead of just 2. The new cells only have half number of chromosomes than that of the mother cell, Children, you will be studying this particular part of cell division in higher classes once again. So here again focus on to the diagram of mitosis, where you can see a mother cell is dividing into two daughter cells by simple division method, and this division takes place for helping growth and repair into the plant tissues and organisms. Whereas in case of meiosis, you can see here first division is just like the mitosis division, where two daughter nuclei are formed. And after that first division, you can see again a division is taking place and four cells are formed by this division. Four daughter nuclei are formed. So here this is the basic difference between mitosis and meiosis, that two daughter nuclei or daughter cells are formed by mitosis and four are formed by meiosis. Mitosis occurs in somatic cells or the plant cells which are not related to the reproductive system, whereas meiosis occurs into the cells which are related to reproductive system, or in germ cells it occurs.